So you want to do this. Hey there, my name's Andrew, and today we're gonna Reka ginger beer. So I grew up in New Zealand, and similar to the States where people have grown up on root beer and sarsaparilla, I grew up drinking a non-alcoholic soft drink called ginger beer. Now it started making its way into the United States. You'll see it at like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and things like that. There's especially an Australian brand called Bundaberg, and it's personally, I think it's the best ginger beer in the world. I know it's Australian, but you've got to give credit where credit's due, right? Ginger beer is an amazing drink to make. We have to start by making the ginger bug. We're going to mix ginger and sugar with water, and we're going to feed it the next 5 days so that it starts to activate, and essentially you've almost got like a probiotic bacteria, like a yeast that will start to activate, and that is going to be essentially the dynamite.
Watch out, we're gonna go, go. What happened? I don't know, it just didn't explode. That's weird.
That triggers the rest of the ginger beer batch to be carbonated and to have all of the activated flavor. We are going to take 5 tablespoons of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of grated ginger, 2 cups of filtered room temperature water, a coffee filter. I have a quart wide mouth mason jar, and just the rim of the lid without the actual flat piece of the lid. We're going to get started by grating some ginger. I'm going to just grate it on the smaller of the 2. I want small little strands. Simply start mixing this in. This is a very, very simple process. I'm then going to add my 5 tablespoons of white cane sugar, 4.98. Take our 2 cups of filtered water. Already you can smell this phenomenal aroma. I'm just going to give that a really, really thorough mix. I'm now going to set my standard coffee filter upside down. I'm going to take my ring and I'm going to set that on top like it was made to be like that.
So it's Jason Bourne.
The next thing that's really important, you're going to want to write the date that you started the ginger bug, because it's easy to lose track of time sometimes in life. All that's left is we're going to put it in one of the cabinets and just leave it there. It's at a perfect warm temperature. It's not hot, it's not cold, and it has all of the yeast aromatics floating around in the air. And that's why we want to use this, is because we want those to be able to penetrate and trigger the activation of our ginger bug. Here is the ginger bug. After 5 days, we have fermentation. You can tell that by all the little bubbles that are starting to crawl up from the bottom, and you can see them resting on the top. We have 3.5 pounds of ginger root, 2.3 pounds of white granulated sugar, our ginger bug, a large stock pot, and a mixing bowl. Let's cube all of our ginger, because we're going to put it in a blender, adding a little bit of water. Let's go. You want to get all the chunks as best you can. Now we're going to start adding the sugar and the water, mix it really well, and then I'm going to put it on the stove, bring it up to the boil, simmer it for 45 minutes, and then let it cool overnight. I left this to cool overnight. Now I have to start transferring it into my brewing bucket, which I have sanitized. I'm going to take my sieve and I'm going to try and get as many solids out as possible. So you can see here I have like a ginger mush, and so I don't want to use that. That's going in the trash. I've strained out approximately 99% of all of the large sediment of the blended ginger. Now we're going to transfer this into the brewing container and add 7.3 pounds of white sugar. We're going to bring it up to the 5-gallon mark, and then I'm going to be adding 10.1 ounces of the ginger bug strained liquid, or 300 mils. The sugar is essentially going to feed the process of carbonation and the flavor. Now that we've added the ginger bug, we've given it a good stir, is to take our sanitized lid and place it on top. Make sure it's sealed really well. As this begins to ferment, it's going to want to expand. We don't want to lose the seal of what's happening inside of here, because otherwise you kind of lose the point. The way to do that without having explosions is this little guy right here, which you can pick up on Amazon. And the whole point is that we fill this bottom piece, and you'll see that there is an air track that comes up here, and then it's met with this little body of water sitting here. So that if enough pressure comes up, it'll push air bubbles through this and up out, releasing the pressure while still maintaining the seal. So this is now going to go into a dark closet room that has, you know, low to medium temperature for the next 7 days, and then we're moving to bottling stage. See you in 7 days. 7 days after we put our ginger beer mix into this fermenting tank, we are now going to transfer from the fermenting tank into the bottles. I've elevated my tank. I have added a little piece of piping tube, and this is a really handy little add-on tool here, and it has, you can see here, a little stopper. As soon as the bottle has filled up, which we're going to fill to the bottom of the neck, I simply pull down and it stops the flow of juice. Let's go. As I put this in here, you'll see as soon as the bottom hits that trigger, I have a flow. I'm just going to let that slowly fill up. Right as it gets to here, I pull it down and the flow stops. I'm simply going to put this on top and pull that down. Over the next 14 days, these are going to be carbonating, and some of that flavor comes into full effect. So every day you burp them. Now this is what it looks like. You just,
It's gonna explode! Oh my God, roll the windows!
push back. As it ferments, it builds up pressure. If you don't do that, you can have a massive explosion. We're gonna store these. Actually, I have a spare bathroom, so I'm gonna use the bath. Sounds weird. You know, when you open them, a little bit sprays out. It will just be able to be easily cleaned up in the bathtub area. As soon as you're happy that the batch is where you want the ginger beer to be, put them into the fridge and it will halt the fermenting process. So we come to the grand finale, where, as you can see, we have some pretty snazzy looking Reka ginger beer labels on these bottles. The pressure keeps building up as the fermentation process happens, and that ultimately naturally carbonates the drink. Now you want to do this for about 2 weeks. If you don't burp them every day and then eventually put them in the fridge after 2 weeks, you're going to have exploding bottles, and it's going to sound like World War II going off in your backyard. So you want to do this.
If that pressure reaches us, it's gonna blow.
And this. That's what we're looking for. It kind of like throws you. I grew up in New Zealand, and in the Southern Hemisphere, this Australian ginger beer is clutch. And I think we're gonna let Reka have a standoff with Bundaberg.
We'll put down our weaponry on the count of 3.
I have today my wife and one of my boys, Joel, and they're gonna come and help me taste, and we're gonna do a taste comparison. I'm gonna pour each one of these drinks, and we're gonna see what my family prefers. Pouring the soft drink ginger beer on an angle as not to bruise said beverage.
Jeez.
Beautiful foam head, look at that, just like a commercial carbonation. I like it a lot. And now taking our regular, you can see the color's very similar. So let's have a look and see what my family has to say. Okay, hey Joel, what's up, dude? Hey buddy. There's 2 drinks here, and what I want you to do is I want you to take a sip of each of the drinks.
Okay.
And have a little break in between each one and tell me which one you like the most.
Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. Oops. Oh, what do you think, Joel? Yeah, I think I like this one better.
It's not spicy.
It's not too spicy, is it? What do you think, babe? How did you find the 2?
Yeah, I think it was great. This one's really sweet, not too strong like he said, not a lot of spice, which is nice when you're drinking. And then this one's, I felt a bit more dry. More,
Okay, so it's more of like a dry texture?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a taste. Okay. Yeah. Hands down, this one is 10 times better. See, like, kids don't lie.
Someone already made this.
Someone else made that one. Yeah. Yeah, we don't like that, someone else. So the Reka ginger beer has more of like a whole flavor. It feels much more full, whereas this feels like a dry ginger ale. Here's the deal. You can have premier ginger beer doing this at home yourself. Trust the process. Make sure you burp every day and not burping at the table. I mean, burping the bottles. Because if you don't, you can have problems. I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. This has been super fun. Happy summer or happy winter if you're in a different hemisphere. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I've seen your recommendations, and I'm starting to plan on cooking some of the things that you've asked me to do. Have a wonderful day. Thanks again for watching. God bless.